Thanks for having me. I learned a long time ago that it was going to be a while. Yeah, thanks. But I appreciate you being ready. Thank you so much. I was about to say I learned a long time ago I could tell how much fun I was going to have at a church by how long the hugging went on. So I feel like it's going to be a good morning. Thank you, Anna, for bringing me in. It's a pleasure to see you always. I just want to tell everybody that I've been around Anna a lot. We actually traveled together for 2 weeks with some other folks to Ireland. So I've been around Anna morning, noon, and night, and I've seen what she's really like. She's one of the people that really does walk her talk, and I've always loved her and appreciated you for that. So I wanted to share some thoughts with you this morning about the sacred and the silly as pathways to the joy of now, this moment. And to get into this, what I'd love to do is to go back about 800 years, halfway around the world, ancient Persia, the Sufi mystic poets that were writing then. Most of you know Rumi, I'm sure. A lot of us probably also know Hafez, his contemporary. How many of us know Hafez? Okay, so a lot of you don't. So if you don't know Hafez, I really encourage you to get a book of Hafez poems, because they're not only very deep, profound, they're also often very whimsical. And 800 years ago, Hafez said this: "What is the difference between your life, your experience of God, and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual pathway is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made such a fantastic move that the saint is now tripping over joy, bursting out in laughter and saying, 'I surrender.' Whereas, my dear, I'm afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves." So I can relate to this really well, because about 25 years ago, life got really serious for me overnight, literally. I got into a lot of trouble physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's a long story we don't have time for, but you need to know there was a lot of terror, there was a lot of despair. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through it. I didn't know what I'd done to myself. I just knew that the world was caving in, and it was really scary. So, I mean, you know, a low point, definitely. Anybody had a low point? Just curious. So you know, if you've been down there, how it sort of jump-starts your motivation. So I was looking at my life, and I was trying to figure out what happened and come up with some kind of excuse. So this is what I figured out. This is called Just a Little Soul Hanging Out in Space. Well, I was just a little soul hanging out in space, getting ready to come into the human race. God came over and he said to me, "Well, kid, what you want to be? It's time for you to go get a life. You don't have to have no struggle or strife. You can live a life of comfort and ease, worldly pleasures. Do as you please. I can give you parents with lots of money. You could live in Austin, bright and sunny, tall and handsome, a movie star, fancy parties, expensive cars, or maybe an athlete with rhythm and grace. You could do the Olympics, win every race, confidence just oozing from you, and the women, they're gonna love you. Or maybe you'd like to help those in low places, like a Peace Corps worker, Mother Teresa. But you know, when it's all said and done, being the Pope is a lot more fun. Or how about a yogi with magical powers? You could levitate for hours and hours and teach everybody to walk on hot coals, sell books and CDs by the truckloads. Well, what do you say, kid? You make the call. You can have any part or you can have it all. You just tell me what you want to be and I'll give it to you. It's my guarantee, yeah. Well, I just stood there with my mouth open, 'cause that's just what I'd been hoping. But while I was deciding to choose which one, I thought, well, maybe I'll just have me some fun. 'Cause me and God, see, we're pretty tight. And I know God likes a good joke, all right. So I figure I'll pull his leg for a while, see if I can make the old boy smile. So I say, Father o' mine, all that glory, to tell you the truth, sounds kind of boring. I want a life with some challenge to it. Something I gotta work to get through it. I don't want fame and easy success. I want to be shamed and easily depressed with various physical and mental afflictions. Might as well throw in multiple addictions. I don't need life to be a sweet dream. I want writer's block and low self-esteem, sensitive skin and food allergies, and when I get around girls, make me sneeze, make me wish that I had more height, give me claustrophobia, stage fright, prone to worry, riddled with doubt, thinking I'll never figure life out. Yeah, that's it, God. That's what I want to have. And then I just shut up so he could laugh. Well, God looked at me with a puzzled brow, shook his head, just said, holy cow. For a minute he stood there pulling his beard, and then he said, kid, you're pretty darn weird. And I know you're just playing the fool, but this time, kid, the joke's on you. And then he grinned at me and he yelled, Shazam! That's my story, and here I am. Thank you. Glad you could relate. Will Rogers said when you find yourself in a hole, the first thing is stop digging. And that's true. We have to have some awareness around what we think about all the time because it tends to show up, it tends to manifest. But the good news about that is if we own that, if we take responsibility for our lives, then there's power there. There's hope there, right? Because if I'm the problem in my life, I'm also what? The problem in everyone else's life. Anybody here heard of an artist, a painter named Donald Roller Wilson? Nobody? Me neither. Donald Roller Wilson, but I read about him in the Airline magazine. That's why I saved this. He's an amazing painter. All he does is he paints these very gothic, realistic, finely detailed paintings of animals dressed up in clothes doing bizarre things. So there's one here you can't see. Come up and look at it later. It's a chimp playing with matchsticks. Anyway. He sells these for amazing amounts of money. But the reason I saved this, cut it out and saved it, is because he has a quote here that I love. He says, it takes all the arrogance out of everything you do when you know that God is so much bigger than you are. And yet, everything you are and do and see is filled with God. The trees, the asphalt, the people fighting over Aquanet at Walmart. That sounds silly. But silliness is just as important as love, just as important as tragedy. You can make a profound intellectual statement just by basing your efforts on silliness. Well, I agree completely. How many of us have seen this Robin Williams movie, Patch Adams? Patch Adams, the movie. So most of us have seen it. Has anybody, by any chance, actually had the opportunity to see the real Patch Adams give a talk? So, Janelle, you have, and a couple others, David. So the real Patch, he's not like Robin Williams physically. He's real tall. He's about 6'7", kind of skinny, kind of a beanpole. He's got long gray hair down to mid-thigh, usually half dyed blue or purple. And he's a doctor, a medical doctor, who dresses like a clown every day. He's a clown doctor. So Patch has figured out that clowning and playfulness are the ways that he can inflict love and compassion on the world. So this is what he does every day. He's almost finished building the first silly hospital in the world, the Gesundheit Institute. It's in West Virginia. You can go volunteer there if you like. It's a free hospital. Nobody pays for anything, and nobody gets paid. I've been around Patch quite a bit. We've been at similar conferences, and I've seen this effect that he's created. One person being silly in a profound way. I've seen this wave that he's created in the healthcare profession, in the wellness community, all over the world. And one of the things Patch says is he feels like the world is wallowing in misery. And one of the most radical things you can do is have a good day. Well, that's not radical to us in Unity. I mean, we teach this. But let me ask you this. We all know that life is serious. If we forget, we can turn on the news for a couple minutes. We get reminded how serious life is. But is there anybody here besides me that's ever had the particular gift or talent of making life even more serious than it already is? Because I'm an expert. I can forget everything in 10 seconds and revert, So I wrote a song for myself about this. So you can see if this helps you. This is called Writer's Block, or the long-term positive and negative effects of worry. I was worried about not writing any songs. No words, no tunes, nothing for way too long. I was worried I'd never write again. Maybe there was no more ink in my pen. And I thought about that, and I began to feel ashamed. I was ashamed that I'd been worried about not writing. I'd been through droughts before and come out fighting. It seemed like my worry was out of control, and I was ashamed about it down to my soul. And then it hit me what I was doing, and I started feeling guilty. I was guilty that I could let myself feel shame over something so insignificant as this writing game. I thought I'd released that stuff long ago, and I felt guilty that I had such a long way to go. And then I realized what I was doing, and I got embarrassed. I was embarrassed that my shame could make me feel guilty. All these negative thought patterns, man, it was silly. If someone could see inside my head, they'd give me a drug and put me to bed. Yeah, I was embarrassed, and that made me mad. I was angry that I could be so immature. I was angry at me, down on myself for sure. And as my anger turned into resentment, I thought about what the long-term effects of that meant, and I realized what I was doing to my body, and I began to feel afraid. I was afraid of what I was doing to myself. All these negative emotions affecting my health. If body and mind are so interconnected, my shame, guilt, worry, and fear were making me infected, and I was afraid that I was becoming depressed. And as I began to sink into depression, the effect on my body and mind became an obsession. The outcome of this could not be in doubt, and that gave me something new to worry about. I knew that I might not be around for too long, so I wrote it all down, and I had a new song. When I thought about that, I was fine again. Thank you. It's pretty silly. But there's great joy in that. See, there's great joy in taking something limiting, troublesome, bothersome, restrictive, and turning it inside out, upside down, reframing it with humor so it's not such a big deal anymore. That's a wonderful thing to practice. And worry is the enemy of joy, right? Because when we're worried, are we in this moment? No. When we're worried, where are we? Past to the future, right. It's okay to look at the past and the future, David. Just don't stare. A lot of us get in the habit of staring at the past and the future because we're encouraged to do it so much by our culture. We're going to have fun with that this afternoon. We're going to look at some of the ways we are subtly and overtly encouraged to give up our power, our responsibility, and kind of get sucked in, to stuff that we don't want to be sucked into. It's a lot of fun. If you step back and reframe it with humor, it turns out to be not only fun, but really empowering. So we'll do some of that this afternoon. I heard Mel Brooks talking about this on TV. He said, Socrates told us it's good to know thyself. He said, well, I've learned it's way better to now thyself. Now thyself. He said, we need more people living in the now. Living every day like this is our last day. Which is why I never have clean clothes, because who wants to do laundry on the last day? Silliness is a great way to now thyself. Silliness is a great way to stop staring at the past and the future and come back to the moment. So my bias about this, my belief about this, is that all of these gifts that we come to God for, all the love, the compassion, the healing, the joy, the comfort, the strength, the grace, the connection, the community, everything that we come to God for is available in every moment. God never takes it away. But we're busy, important people. We got busy, important, grown-up stuff to do. And we get stuck looking at the past and the future or doing other things. We forget to just be in the moment. And silliness is a great way to come back to the present and open the gift. Now, I could talk to you about this all day. But I have a 3-second demonstration that will make this point. And this does not take any talent, any thought, any preparation, nothing. All you have to do is when I say go, turn to somebody sitting close to you, doesn't matter who, for 3 seconds and have a contest to see who can make the weirdest face. Ready? Go. Get weird. Go on, just get weird. Okay, good. That's great. Yeah, this could go on for a while. I can see that. So here's the thing. For those few seconds, I'm willing to bet that nobody here was thinking about their mortgage. Nobody here was thinking about their test scores or the divorce papers or whatever could be going on. We're just here in that love and that fun, and that's what silliness does. It brings us back to the moment. Every 4-year-old knows this. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is where? And to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be like a child. So simple. But we forget because we're busy people here in the U.S. of stress. Or as a friend of mine likes to call it, the excited states of America. And also, our country, this is just my theory, you don't have to buy this, but our country was colonized to a great extent by the Puritans. Remember them? They were so serious, the English kicked them out. H.L. Mencken said a Puritan is somebody who's worried that somewhere, somehow, somebody might be having a good time. We have a lot of that in our cultural DNA. If you grow up in the U.S., you have a lot of that. The good side of it is we know how to work hard. We outwork every country in the world still. We can work. It's just that lightening up part that some of us have challenges with, especially if you grow up serious like I did. So people ask me all the time, well, how do I do this? How do I start being more playful, more silly? Because I don't really know, or whatever. And I say, well, there's one really easy way that's fun to start, and that is to never answer a question with a serious answer that doesn't actually require it. Because all day long, people are asking you stuff. So if you can just remember to start making things up and see what happens, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, well, what's the one question you get asked all day long? How are you? How you doing? And usually we say fine or great or, I'm really good today or whatever. But what if instead of that, you say, how are you? Well, I'm still getting away with it. How you doing? Well, parts of me are excellent. How you doing? Well, I'm still dangerous. How you doing? Well, great ever since the sex change. So many things you can say, and just what you need to do is come up with a few and put them in your back pocket and just practice. And it's not always going to work. Sometimes it'll fall flat, but it doesn't matter because you're having fun. So that's one easy way to inject a lot of silliness all day long. All right, so now silliness is one great way to now thyself, and I know you come to this church, so you know other ones. You know about meditation and prayer and service, gratitude, and powerful feelings of love and connection. These are all ways to kind of be present. But the other thing I just want to touch on for a minute is the experience of the sacred. And I'm referring to the mystical connotation of this word sacred, because one of the things I did when I got down in that black hole, and I was so afraid, I was so scared that I would never have another good day again, another normal day. I was so afraid that I just completely wrecked my life, was I went back to reading mystics, because I'd gotten away from that for 10 years, and I rediscovered descriptions of the mystical experience of joining with God. And what we're talking about here is immersing yourself in God so fully, merging with God so completely that God is all there is in your consciousness. There's no little soul, little self, just the big self. There's really no past or future. There's just God. Everything is God. If you read J.D. Salinger, 9 Stories, you remember the story about watching the woman feed milk to her baby, and he said it was like God pouring God into God. This is the mystical experience of God. So it really helped me to read this, because I felt like if people could actually live at that level, then I had to be able to get up out of this hole and just be okay. So what I'd like to do with the last couple of minutes here is to create an experience together where we can go down that road a little ways. So would you be up for that? Would that be okay? So we're going to use singing, chanting, prayer, meditation, combine them all together. And we're going to use this beautiful little chant by Michael Stillwater. I get a lot of credit for this because I recorded it. It's not mine. Michael Stillwater. You need to remember who it is. And it's very simple. It's a 2-part chant. We have a low part for the guys. We have a high part for the ladies. We sing them together, and that's when magic happens. And trust me, it's really something. So I'm going to teach it to you quickly. It's very easy. And then we're going to sing it, and I'll show you how we'll do it. So the low part is 4 lines. They're almost identical. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. Right? So it's mother, love, Father, God, that order. And this is how it sings. Some of you might know this, and if you know it, please help me teach it. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. Okay, let's all try it. Mother, love, Father, God. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the That's the low part, typically the male part. If you're not a male and you want to sing that part, it's okay. But we do have this beautiful high part for the female voice, or if you're a male tenor, you can probably get up there. It's very simple. It's just Ave Maria, and then a Greek phrase, Kyrie eleison. Yeah, come on up, that's great. Kyrie eleison, it means Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Kyrie eleison. So if you can't remember that, just sing Kyrie eleison with an accent. So this is how it sings. And if you know it again, just help me teach it. Ave Maria, Kyrie eleison. 1, 2, 3. Ave that really sounds good. This is going to be terrific. So we're going to start with the low part, guys, and we're outnumbered, guys, so I need all of you. And then we're going to bring in the Aves. And if any of you ladies want to sing the low part, that's fine, but we just want some people doing both. We're going to do it just a few times. Get quiet with it. Go into meditation. I have a short prayer I want to teach you or share with you. And then we'll come back with our chant and see what happens. So I invite you to relax. Now thyself. Just give yourself to this and see where it takes you. Okay. So men and any men helpers, I am one with the heart of the Mother, love, Father, God. 1, 2, 3. I am one with the heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of love. Good. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. Keep it going, man. Ladies, Ave. I am one with the heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. Okay, good. Same thing. I am one with the heart of the Father. Again.
count your blessings at least once a day. Forgive those who have hurt you and those who have offended you. But forgive yourself for what you have done and for that which you have failed to do. Have self-control, self-knowledge, self-respect, and the courage to dare. Be tranquil. The light of intelligence will shine. And strive to make a spot where you stand beautiful. Then the peace and harmony will follow you in all your days and in all your ways on this journey we call life. Now let's get ready to hum our parts together. Just breathe it in for a minute. Just breathe in the fact that when we sing like that together, we actually align our brain waves in a very, very powerful way. And they stay aligned, actually, for some time, some minutes. So while we're all connected here, I think we should just enjoy that present moment and the presence. And I also think maybe this would be a good place to pause and share our tithes and blessings. I had one more song I was going to do, but I think we're running over. Want to go ahead and do it? Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll go ahead and do it. So I'll just go ahead and relax. I'll bring you back up with this. And this is a song about being connected in another way that we've also been doing while we've been sitting here for the last hour. You breathe out I breathe in. We're sharing molecules again. Oxygen and hydrogen, but do you know where your atoms have been? Parts of me were once in you. Genghis Khan and Gandhi too. Jesus Christ and dinosaurs. Princess Di and Dinah Shore. All these atoms everywhere circle back so we can share. No escaping, yes it's true. Parts of me were once in you. My whole body, smooth and hairy, is really very temporary. Every year a new epidermis. Maybe next year's will be firmer. There's some atom somewhere in Spain I could use back in my brain. They stay a while and then they leave, but they only fit what we can see. All these atoms here on Earth get recycled, death to birth, like some ever-changing brew. Parts of me are now in you. As hard as it might seem to be, parts of you were once a tree, once a fish in the primal soup. Something's dinner, something's poop. Just making sure you're awake there. 15 billion years ago, the Big Bang was quite a show. All this time and now here we are. Parts of you were once a star. All these atoms we've collected only mean that we're connected, since we share what we're made of. Don't you think that calls for love? So take a deep breath, share some atoms. It's not like you have any choice. We'll all be part of the Addams family. Okay, I tell you what, before we leave, I want you to do one more quick thing. I want you to look at that person you were having fun with before. Go ahead, look at him. And just look at him and just think to yourself, what a lovely bunch of atoms. You know, some of those look like they used to be mine. I hope you're enjoying them. So there were these two Adams walking down the street. First Adam saw the second one. He said, "Hey, what's the matter? You look a little down." And the second Adam said, "Yeah, I lost an electron." First Adam said, "Oh man, are you sure?" He said, "I'm positive." And I just want you to know that I'm positive that we can now ourselves, we can be silly, we can now ourselves, and that God loves it when we do that. She told me. Thank you all so much. I'll see you later.
When you walk storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, it's a golden sky and the sweet